Welcome to a cruise ship heist. Chapter 76. Where's it gone? I'm sobering up fast by the time I reach the security office. Predictably, Hunter is watching security footage of the corridor outside my cabin. It confirms to me that he's not in on the theft. Other than with the flow of guests and the clock on the bottom corner of the screen, it's hard to tell the difference between day or night because the lighting never changes. Every time the cabin steward goes in and out, Hunter slows it down, re-watches in detail, then moves on. So far, it's not the staff. Jill comes into frame and enters my room. Hunter goes back and freeze frames. Who's she? One of the solo cruiser guests, Jill Cohen. I bought us some drinks and didn't wait for my cruise card. She gave it back to me the next day. How did you get into your room? I didn't go there. I hesitate. You're not in the room? He asks. Knowing he can look at the cameras, I can't lie. He may as well hear it from me, and it is working well for me at the moment. Georgie's room, I admit. Georgie's? He asks, just as surprised as her cabin steward was. You won't get anywhere with her, no matter how special you think your forces are. If only he knew we'd just bought a house together. Hunter advances the tape. Jill is in my room for ages before peeking out of the door, then ducking inside again. She waited for you. Can't see the attraction personally, but you're in one woman's room and another woman is waiting in your room for you to get back? But I don't go back, I admit. Special forces. I'll check Georgie's corridor in a minute, just to confirm your story, 'cause she doesn't play with boys. He turns to his keyboard. Jill Cohen, he says as he types. I got a replacement cruise card the next morning. Jill's picture pops up, the ID picture card that every security guard sees on her check-in or check-out. By the way, I'm not checked back on board yet, I say, producing my security card. Then you could be thrown overboard, and you were never here, Hunter says flatly. But he takes my card, scans it, punches some keys, and hands it back to me. Welcome aboard. I feel so safe now. He switches the file to her account, showing the price she paid for her suite. She's rich. I can see her home address, the date she booked, and some other details he has on her. She doesn't always travel solo. He turns to me for my reaction. You seriously didn't know the money was gone? I shake my head. I was sleeping at Georgie's. You're not allowed in crew quarters. Write me up. Hunter goes back to the video and speeds further forward. A man walks down the corridor and knocks on my cabin door. Hunter freezes the video. Who's that? Another one of the solo cruisers, Tony K. Hunter spins around and pulls up his details. Then he flicks back to Jill's details. They've travelled together a couple of times before. They're solo. Why not? Hunter fast forwards until the two of them leave the room, dragging 3 heavy canvas bags, the heavy one between them and a lighter one on their outside arm. Which one of those two is in charge? No question, Jill. So here's the muscle. Never underestimate the enemy, right? That's 16 million they're struggling with, Hunter says, looking back at them on the screen. 16? We had 20, I state. They left a gratuity, Hunter offers. Chapter 77. Jill. One day, security footage will be processed by a robot. We watch 2 bags dragged into Jill's suite and 1 bag into Tony K's balcony room midship. They couldn't manage it all, Hunter says. He brings up a list of people that logged off the ship in St. Vincent with their cruise card. The time-ordered list reveals Jill was one of the first off. He punches the time into the security camera recording made at disembarkation and finds Jill striding off, looking $1 million. Walk-in shoes, I say, to begin digging a hole for her. She descends the gangway with a beach bag. She could have, what, "$1 million in there?" Hunter asks. "Or a beach towel and sun cream?" "Expensive towel." When she leaves the camera's vision, he runs it back and freezes the screen to study it. "The strap's digging into her shoulder," he says. "You gotta love a thief dressed like that." I was trying not to. Swinging back to his data screen, he finds the time Tony K logged out. Using the same method, he sees him leaving with a small backpack, and the frame is held. Our blocks were 40 inches long. They've broken them down. Maybe $1 million each taken ashore. But what could they do with that? He asks, turning to me. I shake my head. What this means is my $4 million may be home and dry. "Can you jump to the time when they came back on board?" I ask. I don't want him to spool through and see Georgie and me leaving with life jackets. Hunter uses the same method to pinpoint their return times. "The X-ray would have caught that much cash being brought back on board," he says. "It stayed on the island. What we lose comes out of your share." "Because I left my key card in a bar?" I defend. "Why does a woman who's going to a room for—" He pauses to look at me. "Sex? Search under your bed? You were played." I like Hunter. He's clever, but he's annoying. Jill is either an opportunist or a very dark horse. I mentally rewind, flashing back to each of our few moments together. I was trying to avoid her to get to Georgie. Jill was inquisitive as to why I was worried about who Hunter was with. I told Jill I had a crew cabin full of ship storage, which you'd offered to move, but I allowed to stay. I was trying to stop her coming to my room, avoid her, so I could get to Georgie. Information she used. I told her I didn't know what it was. She said never bring anything on board for another person. "Go on," he encourages. He is not going to make me speed into this. My thinking out loud needs to be crafted. Was Jill interested in me or the money? "She wasn't interested in you at all." The army sheltered me from such tricksters. I remember thinking her job was to root out problems and decode errors. She works in IT. "No, she doesn't. Go on," Hunter demands, typing as he processes my recall. His attention to the screen tells me he has other information. "She doesn't work in IT?" "No. She's a criminal, red flagged in this system. Her jacket says suspected jewelry thief, Caribbean diamond shops, then back onto the ship. I can see he is logged into a criminal database. Not one I'm familiar with, but then I was military, not civilian." Hunter is silent as he reads it all. If she was after the money, does she know the Latina is on board? It is time to push him on what is going on. If your Latina stowaway planned on you collecting her cash from the walls of that drug safe house, then she may equally have employed a thief to steal the whole amount from you. Hunter stops reading and turns to me. I can see the concern under his poker face. She doesn't know. We know the money's gone. We don't need to look until Madeira, and that's 5 days away. I need you to stay close to Jill Cohen. I need her busy while I personally search her suite and get it back. So, forget Georgie. That's never gonna work anyway. Says you? Says the KGB. No, I can't ignore Georgie. Assume Marie Isabella El Rey knows you, and Ali, and so does Jill. Maybe even Officer Christoph Baccaroff is involved. My blood goes cold. Chapter 78 The Scam Begins. The way I feel, I may never drink again. My long shower is therapeutic. It eases the bruises to my knee and leg that are now gaining colour. But it doesn't wash away my anger at Jill being the thief. I want to mend things with Georgie, so I have 5 days at sea, juggling 2 women as well as guests inflating my jump. Casually dressed, which is as much disguise as I'm allowed, I wander into the buffet. The food looks excellent. I opt for the grilled tuna steak and sit by the window looking out. It is unusual for me to offer my back to the crowd, but I want to hide. The sky is red, the start of another magical sunset, and I can feel the attraction of an ordinary, unpressured cruise. Browsing pictures on my smartphone, I study our 2 houses in Bequay. Georgie looks genuinely excited, and it brings home how much she means to me. She means more than any amount of money. The pictures are interrupted by a text from her. The next speaker has just cancelled. If a replacement can't be found, could you stay on after Madeira? That seems blunt. She could be talking to anyone. The theatre show is in full swing, and I am stuck in the middle of a row, unable to get out, wondering why Aulie is absent. When the show ends, I rush against the traffic heading out to the elevator, and I head backstage. I can't go into the women's changing room, so I go left, knock, and enter the men's. Hi, sorry, excuse me, I'm Aulie's dad. Is she all right? She wasn't on stage. One of the young performers turns. Yes, she was. You just didn't recognise her, he says with a smile. Can't say more. I'd be thrown out of the magic circle. They laugh, and my panic dissipates. I want to know more, but I enjoy the joke and leave. Heading off stage, I'm caught. What are you doing here? Georgie snaps. I can't tell you. I'd be thrown out of the magic circle, I say, and march past her. I was only as abrupt as she was. Tonight should be a cooling-off period. As I walk out of the empty theatre, I hear someone running after me. I turn, expecting to be hit. Hi, Dad, Aulie says, and kisses me. Did you transfer any more money? Not quite. I gave some to a charity that helps local children and those in Syria. It was the best I could do. She grabs my arm. Let's go to the club. It's late-night comedy show. It's great unless someone takes their children in and then it's ruined. How? The comedian can't do their adult act. Then everyone else complains. Then do the show regardless. The audience is offended at an adult show with children present. They complain very strongly about that. I thought I was going to have an early night, alone. But Georgie sees us enter the club and approaches. It's busy tonight. Can you not take seats the guests may need? Georgie walks off. What's got her goat? Aulie says. Looking at me, she detects more than she should. No, she grimaces. Not you and my boss.